Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Frequency Factor podcast. And I'm really excited to do this interview. Right now, I have Tamara with me, and I'm going to have Tamara introduce herself.
Thank you. Naime hafkita na jinwia baos bali machapi si changula koto oyatiki. Greetings and good day to each and every one of you. My name is Tamara, stands and looks back, spotted tail. I'm from the Rosebud Sioux tribe.
Awesome. So, Tamara and I met a couple years ago at this very conference, actually,
Yes.
and through Christine Becker. But anyhow, I think that everybody has a story, and what this podcast is really about is just hearing those stories. And so with that, I'm gonna ask you, Tamara, what is your story?
Well, thank you for that. I think it's really difficult. Sometimes we get at a stage in our life and we have that fear, that anxiety, stress about things we've done or what we've gone through to make us to where put us to where we are now today.
Mhm.
And so I think when you get to that point in life where you're able to self-reflect
Mhm.
and look at who you really are as a human being, as a person, as a native, as an indigenous person, where does that put us in our world today? And
Mhm.
so for me, I traveled all over. I was a naughty kid growing up. I always wanted to do things that I wasn't supposed to do. And I got punished a lot
Mhm.
by my whole tribe. I think
Mhm.
sometimes I would go to different communities and they'd get after me and I'm going to tell your grandma. And so
Yeah,
it really takes a tribe to raise people. Takes a village,
absolutely.
to raise our kids.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that at the time. I was like, well, who are you? This strange person is getting after me.
Mhm.
But now I understand, what that means, that connection that we have to each other. And I think ultimately, I struggled in school. I dropped out in high school and I went back to school to get my education. I always had a different approach to life because I always had to walk both worlds in Lakota way and then also the non Lakota.
Mhm.
And so having to walk both those worlds and it's always very different, when you're not immersed and you live off the reservation, it's different. You're emerged with other cultures, you learn so many different things. You try to make them your own.
Mhm.
And then you go back to the reservation and
Mhm.
your grandma or grandpa get a hold of you and they're like, that's not yours, that's not your way. And so, yeah, I mean, get your ears. And and so then you have to learn how to balance that.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to realize that I was a Lakota woman,
Mhm.
what that really meant. And it wasn't until my grandfather got a hold of me and took me to ceremony and said, this is who you are. And from that moment opened up a lot of spiritual connection, a lot of understanding our own spiritual rhythm in this world, in life, how we perceive and how we utilize our teachings and our core values as Indigenous people when we go out into the world, whether it's in our classrooms, whether it's in, our other communities or even in our own community.
Mhm.
And so it's understanding those teachings and how you incorporate them into your everyday life.
Mhm.
For me, it was difficult because when I first started learning more of my culture and language, I had people that were fluent Lakotas would make fun of me, and then ones that didn't understand it would make fun of me. And, "Oh, why do you wanna do that? You don't need to speak Lakota, you just wanna be a wannabe Indian." And it's like, "Wait a minute, I am an Indian."
Exactly.
You're my relative, so what does that make you?
Yeah.
But, you
Mhm.
just have to understand at that point the history of where our people have come from,
Yeah.
and that's where I became very engulfed in a lot of our history and culture. And so once you understand the history of where we are now today,
Mhm.
it's a healing process to really learn your culture and your identity and
Mhm.
your root because there are so much atrocities, there's so much violation that's happening to us as Indigenous people that we've had to overcome so many of those obstacles. And
Mhm.
we have to take a lot of our past with us because
Yeah,
it's ingrained in our DNA, it's ingrained in our subconscious, it's
absolutely.
ingrained in who we are as Indigenous people. So
Mhm.
there are times we get to a place, I get to a place where what are all those feelings? And those aren't my feelings. And I have to realize that I'm carrying with me my ancestors' knowledge and wisdom. And
Mhm.
I have to learn that it's not mine
Mhm.
and I
Mhm.
have to let it go. And that's part of that trauma there that we
Mhm.
all have to go through. I think every
Yeah.
year, day, sometimes minute. But I've overcome many obstacles in my life
Mhm.
and I have beautiful children. I have beautiful grandchildren. I come from a long line of warrior society and medicine people. I'm married to one of our chiefs of our tribe. And, as dignitaries, we have to be very mindful of other people and other cultures and have respect. So
Sure.
spiritually, I do try to take care of my spirit, which is most important,
Mhm.
and that's where when you walk your life, when you walk your prayers, that's a hard thing to do for a person, to really
Absolutely.
walk your prayers. I think it's important, though, to note that when we're asked to do something, when we're put on the forefront and we're guided by something other than that's supernatural, we have an obligation to uphold that because they're putting us in a place or a position where we need to be and what we're going to learn.
Mm.
And so everybody has that for themselves as a spiritual being, and it makes everybody so unique. And
Mhm.
the more you understand that, you realize everybody has something in their path they need to accomplish or that they're being guided by their spirit to do. And when you do that, you can't interfere with those people because you don't know what's backing them to guide them. And so all you can do is be respectful, watch them, be mindful of them,
Mhm.
and and kind of help them because we all need help.
And I appreciate you bringing that part up because you hit on so many points that just resonate with me because, especially language. I'm half Zuni, and so growing up in Zuni, I was the Melika girl, the white girl, and so I felt less than at certain points in my life just because of that. I wish I would have known then what I know now, and when it wouldn't have made any difference at that point. The next thing that you hit on was that we all have a purpose, you know? But I think a lot of times some of our youth get caught up in, I don't have a purpose. So, what would you tell a young person who doesn't feel like they have a purpose? Or one time I asked a group of youth, do you know why you were born? And the answer back, it was, said to be funny, but they were just like, because two people are in the back seat of a car. And I thought, oh, no. And I said, even though you came about that way, it doesn't matter because you were still born and you still have a purpose? So what would you say to youth who think that way?
Today, I probably would tell our youth, know who you are,
Mhm,
acknowledge your authenticity because being who you are in your pueblo as indigenous people, it's challenging today. But just know that you're here for a purpose.
mhm,
Find not so much where you have to really be obsessed with the purpose in life, but be happy. Enjoy your life. Enjoy the things that your culture has to offer. Enjoy the teachings that you were given because for whatever reason, even if you felt hurt by it, it was to teach you something. You're put in that position by the creator and by the spirit to teach you something.
mhm.
It's what you choose to do with that and how you choose to move forward that makes you the person that you're going to be to come back and help your people. And so I think for our younger
Great.
generation, they don't have as many challenges we do.
Mhm,
And I think that they need to really decide and define what their future is going to be. And the way I look at it, the sky's the limit for them.
right.
You have
Yeah.
so many opportunities to do things. You have a developing piece of artwork. Boy, that could be marketed. You can do t-shirts. You can get
Mhm.
into business. You have a dream to be a doctor or a lawyer. There's all kinds of
Mhm.
grants and scholarships available for you.
Yeah.
You just want to be a homemaker. You know what? That's good too.
Yeah.
And you're because women were creators of life. We create our villages and our people.
Yes.
And so and men, you want to be a warrior, go out and hunt and do those things. You have the land and
Mhm.
know that, you're part of the land, you're
Yeah,
part of the universe, you're part of the future, where we're going to be, and it's all up to you.
it is. Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
that.
And
'Cause yeah,
I think that things have led you to be where you are now today. And
I
look at
love
all the
that.
wonderful things you've accomplished. Look at all the people you inspire and all the children that you're helping. And that's something to be grateful for.
Oh, thank
Mm.
you. Thank you for that. I just got full body chills, but yeah, and just I have always believed that every time we raise our frequency or, we learn those lessons because they're so hard. But when we do that, we gain a little more wisdom and more humility as well. And that's what I love about rubbing shoulders with you guys. You have such an amazing spirit about you, and ancestors and spirits go ahead of you to open those doors, right? And for any of us that want to really put forth that effort. I know that you're working on a major project right now that's near and dear to your heart. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Well, Lakota Women Business LLC is a Native 100% owned company. I was put in a position to really look at where our homes are right now today on reservations.
Mhm,
And years ago, we went to the Buffalo Nation, Deoyate, and asked them for substances where we utilize the hides and the leather and that to provide shelter for our teepees. Today, we need to think about the future of where people are going to be.
mhm,
And with the winds and the climate change, we need to really acknowledge and help sustain ourselves through how many of our years that's going to take for the earth to come back into balance. Because right now we know that there are things that are shifting.
mhm,
And so I think by utilizing Makoche, by Ushimaka, going to Mother Earth and asking her to help sustain us to build earthen block homes
mhm,
on our reservation that are powered up with solar,
mhm.
and then taking it to a whole nother level by providing the economic opportunities for artisans, people who grow food or canning, to have a
Mm,
room available for them
yeah.
that meets the IRS standards for home-based business,
Mhm,
and have that space available for them, but then also have a greenhouse attached to the kitchen. So they can do hydroponic gardening, fooding, medicinal purposes that they need.
wow.
And that way they can sustain themselves through the harshness of the winters or even the harshness of the summer. So it's with that, being powered up with solar, rammed earth homes or
Mhm.
earthen block homes from Mother Earth, radiant heating, and then also off grid so that we can live out in our homesteads and our home assignments or out in rural areas.
Wow. So you're saying that with these homes, that the greenhouse would be attached to these homes as
Yes.
well? Like totally self-sufficient.
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah, one,
goodness.
yeah, very self-sufficient to where we can provide for ourselves, not only economically,
Mhm,
but also through financially, through your food source, food
mhm.
sovereignty,
I
and
love that.
energy self-sustaining. So we're utilizing the gifts of the Father and the gifts of Kate, which is the one of our deities that we have the wind
Mhm.
to help us to protect Mother Earth. And it's getting
Mm.
away from our fossil fuels and that.
Yeah.
So then you have to drive, 200 or 300 miles to go to town to
Just to go grocery shop. It's a whole day to get to Costco or whatever,
and
right?
it's a healthier way of
Mhm,
living. I think when
mhm.
people start growing their own foods, they know what they're eating.
Yeah, I just think it's fascinating that instead of just talking about it, you've just done it. You said, let's do it." Because and that's what I'm really focused on. Our people is like, just do it. Let's get with it, and during COVID in Zuni, we put food pantry together. It just kind of came out of an idea over Facebook, and it just mushroomed. And it was amazing. But one of the terms I kept saying it was GSD, let's get stuff done,
Yeah.
right? And I love that, and that's what I really appreciate when we meet people who GSD. So if you look hashtag GSD, there's a lot of our stuff there. So if anybody wanted to know more about your business, these homes that you're building, where could they find out about that?
Well, they can go to www.lakotawomenbusinessllc.com and we have our website up. I reached out to several agencies to try to get help to develop a website. I'm not a very good IT person. So I just sat there one day and I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And I plugged through everything and put my website. I was like, wow, this kind of came out. And then it got real interesting. So
Mhm.
but I do have, it's a working process, like your
Mhm.
business plan. You've always got to keep changing
Yes.
as you go. And
Mhm.
so it's a working process. We've applied for a prize with the Department of Energy.
Mhm.
There's several grants out there. So we're in the process of partnering with a nonprofit
Mhm.
and reaching out and just through marketing and collaboration of relationships that we built over the years in business, talking to people about our project. And
Mhm.
how this started was we saw the need of where we're at on a reservation.
Mhm.
For whatever reason, Tribal Politics Council, they just can't meet the demand of what's there. And we're one of the fifth poorest counties in the nation, and
Mhm.
we're at 61% poverty. Unemployment levels are high. People are having to move away from the reservation, away from home, which isn't good because it kind of keeps them from their culture and their language. And
Yep.
so when we talk about cultural and language revitalization, it's got to start within our own
Mhm.
people. Yeah. But we don't have to live next door to them. So we can live, in a different
Exactly.
area. So we learn how to appreciate them.
Yes.
And then, but it's got to start somewhere. And so
Mhm.
for me, I was always taught by my elders and my grandfather that if you want to do something that's going to affect the people or the children, go and take it to ceremony and consult with your ancestors.
Mhm.
And that way you're guided down that path. And so when
Yeah.
we say walk our prayers, if you're going to pray about it because this is something you want to do, well, and you're going to have to walk it.
Mhm.
And if you walk it one third the way, they're going to
Mhm.
help you the rest.
So I want to end our conversation on what is the legacy that you're leaving?
I think I want to show our children and our next generation that anything's possible as long as you put your mind to it and you put your heart to it. As long as your mind and your heart are together with something you want to accomplish, you're going to get there.
Thank you. I want to just tell you how much I appreciate this, just sitting with you and getting to know you even more. As Native women, I think it's hugely important that we support each other and that we just love on each other because there's not enough of that. I think that's, happening now. And so I appreciate that.
Thank
And
you.
we love traveling, so we'd love to come up and see your
Absolutely.
project, see what we can do, and see what kind of attention that we can bring to that as well.
Yeah, we're really excited. We're working with the Bard College
Mhm.
with some MBAs that are
Oh,
giving,
wow.
donating time and that to
Yeah.
the project. I spoke with a couple of journalists and reporters from a couple of the big magazines, newspapers on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So they're in the process. They want to cover a story like that. We're working with some big ACES renewable
Mhm.
energy people.
Yeah.
They're super excited about moving forward with that. And we do have a start to it on Rosebud. I did a project a while ago for 63 wind turbines and on two communities. And we did two community buildings for the PICA systems, which are still in existence today.
That's amazing.
And it was challenging because by the time council was aware, we had already had them up and it was like, who authorized you to do that? And I got attacked by so many people. They're like,
Mhm.
who said you could come up here and do that? Well, first off, I'm a tribal member. And secondly, if you have a problem with it, ask the creator because he's the one that told me I could do it. Well, it starts with prayer, right? Where do you think that's going to go?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I love that there's another Native woman who does the whole first of all.
Don't tell me I can't do it.
Yes, exactly. Okay, I know both of us have workshops we need to conduct here in 2 seconds, but
Thank you so
yeah.
much. And it means a lot. And I'm really, honored to be here and really happy to see where you're going in your life.
Yes.
It's amazing. And do come to South Dakota,
We absolutely will. We can.
families, and stop
Aw,
in and say
thank
hi.
you. Well, Tamara, thank you so
Yes,
much. I
yes.
appreciate it, and we will definitely be doing that. And again, we'll post everything underneath the video here so you can get a hold of Tamara. Thank you so much.
Thank you.